Okay.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lisa Goyette, and I am here with John Ball of CH Training and Coaching. And we have been talking about organizational health for the past couple of weeks, and we've been bringing on guest speakers from different industries so that they can share with us their experiences in many different things, but really centering back on what organizational health looks like in their businesses. So this afternoon, we're really happy that we have Dan Dulka with us, and John's going to read his bio and give you a little bit more information on him.
Yeah, so it's good to have you with us today, Dan.
Thanks,
Dan is the co-founder and owner of Drive Creative Agency. And from a strategy and operations level to project management and outstanding results, Dan Dulka leaves brands significantly better. So they are indeed a branding agency, and we're going to go into that a little bit more in just a little bit, better than the way that they had found them. Dan works side by side with clients to capture their overall vision, mission, and business goals. And so that's the thing that really sets you apart as we've got to know you, Dan, and Drive Creative Agency. And through the information that your team gathers and collects, and the relationship, most importantly, that you develop with your clients, you bring all of that together to create a client base, an experience with your clients that's bigger, that's better, that's faster, that's stronger, that's more productive, that's more engaged, and ultimately healthier. And so that's where our paths have really intersected, even though we specialize in organizational development, and you really focus in on organizational branding, is we're both speaking the same language, just doing it through a different vernacular and through a different procedure. And so what a great conversation that we have had as I've got to know you, and we've developed a trusted partnership with you, Dan. But also what a phenomenal topic to have a conversation about as we're continuing to navigate these times through COVID, but also even going beyond COVID, the necessity for businesses to really figure out who they are and how to be healthy in these ever-changing cultural shifts that we're going through even now. So it's with our pleasure that we welcome you today, Dan. Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, John. I'm glad to be here. That really resonated with me. What you just said, especially in these times, and forgive me because it's the only time you'll ever hear me quote Mike Tyson, right? But
From Hangover Part 1.
No, actually from a fight interview, and it's really symbolic of what COVID has done to I do a lot in the manufacturing space, but Mike Tyson once said, he said that everyone's got a terrific plan until you get punched in the face, right? And to me, that's exactly what COVID was, right? Continues to this day. And so much of that is, Jen, you said it perfectly, is brands struggle to get a true understanding of who they are. And when you're thrown into a proverbial meat grinder that COVID has been for everyone, it really, I mean, what's a Chinese proverb? It's sunlight is the best disinfectant, right? And so when you have something of this magnitude happen, and it really sheds a light on where some companies' strengths and weaknesses are. And John, I know that you kind of abide by the same theory, but the days of the days of this is your job, and you do your job the way I tell you, or you'll be out of one, are hopefully long gone, right? And it's just a complete and total different mindset. Companies are struggling to find the right clients. You have employees that are really struggling to find the right organizations to gravitate towards, and vice versa with companies trying to find the right employees, right? And you and I were talking about, a lot of times it might be simple adjustments of having the right employees, but they're in the wrong seats, and if you're not there to truly understand and identify that, then that brings a lot of grief and trouble too.
So can we dig into that, Dan? Because in a very similar sense, even though we do two different things and we're about the same thing, is people, business leaders will come to you and say, hey, we need a logo. We need a
Yeah.
website, or they'll come to us and say, hey, we have a problem child employee. Can you just kind of do a couple sessions and fix them? Or we need a seminar
Sure.
on diversity or conflict, and then
Yeah.
everything's going to be fine.
Sure. And do they ask you to bring your box of Band-Aids to put on their bullet wounds too?
Right.
So go ahead.
So we both, of course, entertain those conversations. But the larger question that we're really talking about is creating a healthy, productive, engaging, life-giving, exciting, fulfilling culture, climate, environment. And so, can we maybe delve into that
Sure.
now as we kind of unpack that
Yep.
and how that is fulfilled through not only the work that you do, but also in a larger global sense?
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny that you brought up, hey, do you guys do logos, right? And I always, and I probably did it right there, but I always kind of roll my eyes a little bit because every single time, and I have a standard response all the time. Hey, do you guys do logo development? Oh, of course we do, but why? You know, what I mean, why are you asking about a logo? I mean, what are you trying to accomplish, right? And because so many times, and I'm sure it resonates with you guys too, right? So many times I have conversations with leadership teams and it's all with good intent, but they're identifying a symptom rather than a cause, right?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, because we want a new logo because it's 2020 or 2021, and we haven't done it in a while, and we want to refresh it. Okay, that's great. That's a good standard off the shelf answer. But why? I mean, are you getting your butt kicked in the marketplace? Are you struggling more with drawing in new employees than you are in do you have all the business in the world, but you can't identify and hire the correct people fast enough, or your turnover rate's too high, or whatever that might be. So it's a much larger conversation,
That's
right?
right.
And I'm sure that you guys run into that,
Yep.
as well. And so much of what I try and do is have those conversations, and because it's visceral. You have to have a level of intimacy with the owner or the leadership team, whichever, because you have to understand exactly who they are, what they're trying to do, and where, like, how fast they want to run and all that kind of stuff. But really what it boils down to is mindset. What's the single solitary problem that they're trying to solve, and
Mm,
what's their mindset around solving it, right?
yes.
If you want to have a more healthy organization, okay, I mean, that's one thing to say that. It's wonderful. It's like No Child Left Behind. Who wouldn't want that, right?
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's, what's their level of commitment, and what do they truly understand what will need to transpire to make that a goal, right? Same thing with reinvigorating a brand, or, whatever that might be. And so, you have to have complete and total, you have to have that level of intimacy and have open, honest, vulnerable conversations about, at least for me, it's
Yep.
okay. Yeah. Listen, do you have a strong understanding of where you are in the marketplace, or do you think that you're this giant, company, like, do you not identify where you need help? Or you know what I mean? And so part of it is educating a client on where they actually might be, right? And I'm sure that you guys do that too, because yes, you have a great company and this, that, and the other thing, but like, you're falling down an A, B, and C so much more than you believe that you are. And it's my job to help you, right? First, help you understand, and then help you, put it together the right strategy that's going to bring that A, B, and C up to where you need to be, right?
So what kind
Um,
of things, I'm sorry, Dan, what kind of things can you do then that help narrow down that vision
Yeah.
to come up with a clear and concise vision?
yeah, thank you. That's awesome. That's a great question. So, I mean, a lot of it to me, so everything starts with what the goal set is, right? So, I mean, we have a multitude of clients that struggle with that exact issue. Who are we,
Mhm.
right? Who are we as a company? Who are we to
Right.
our audience? Who are we?
Yeah.
And so much of that is, that definitely that's directly down the main street of branding, right?
Right.
And figuring out who you are, what you do, who you do it for, and why, right? And the why is, to me, I mean, that's where the most fun work is really helping, develop that brand voice and tonality and who they are and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, a lot of times it's, how, just simple questions like, how meaningful is your, mission statement?
Hmm.
I mean, your mission statement was written 26 years ago, right? Okay, I mean, I'm decisively a different person now than I was, 26 years ago, right? And not saying that, you need to change your mission statement, but it's worth revisiting.
Yeah.
Okay. And if, and if it's a strong mission statement, and vision statement, and core belief systems that still hold true, okay, well, what does that really look like? Right? Is it just lip service? Is it something that we review with new hires and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff?
Yeah.
Or do you really believe it? Right? And if that's your goal set is, hey, listen, we've got a lot of internal challenges. Like on the outside, we're fine. We're selling well, we're delivering well, we've got the right clients, all this kind of stuff. But if things aren't going well internally, or if they're going not stellar internally, um, then how do we address them? And that's a certain level of intimacy you have to have, because you have to get people to number one, acknowledge that they're not doing things perfect, and that's okay. Again, we're all human, right? But it's at times, sometimes I find it challenging to have those conversations, but you have to push through, because that's like, once you push through that, once you have a clear understanding of who they are and where they want to go and what they're willing to do, let's go. Then it's all just strategy and figuring stuff out and hard work and all that kind of stuff. But if you don't have that level of clarity, then, I mean, you're just, and then you're just making a logo. You know what I mean? You're just building a website to, hopefully build more sales or whatever it might be. But if you truly understand what the company actually needs, then that's where the good work happens.
So as we think about that, and especially going back to the fact that we've been going through challenging times, these are unprecedented times,
For
and
sure.
we don't want to, kill the dead horse. But the reality is this is always in front of us in terms of um, the unique challenges that this pandemic has brought into our lives. Is how we talk about vision, we talk about goals and implementation, but how does that impact the health of the workforce? Where we started was creating healthy, engaging, productive, exciting work environments. How does all of that, with that concise vision, those clear goals and objectives, impact the workforce and contribute to that health in a universal fashion?
Yeah, I mean, nothing but positive effects, right? I mean, you're talking about, I mean, first of all, great question, right? But it's if you have an environment, right, where if it's a top-down environment and you have the core vision and mission completely spelled out, everyone's on the same page as far as the leadership is concerned, and you have that open-mindedness and that vulnerability to let that trickle down through middle management, through the staff, and have complete buy-in, right? And I'm not talking about, hey, it's an annual barbecue, and hey, we gave X amount of dollars to, insert charity name there, right? But if you truly believe, because it's
Yeah.
not hard. I mean, don't get me wrong, how's this? It's not that it's easy. It's a lot of times things are just simple. Nothing's ever easy, right? But if you understand how to draw that tribe together
Mm.
and have those open lines of communication, then it's really quite simple. There's nothing wrong with empowering people, right? But you also have to have an environment where it's okay to, yeah, it's okay to ask for forgiveness and have things go wrong. I mean, that's what happens when you start moving to a model where you empower employees, right? Because if you see sparks in people, wow, this person has so much potential, let's slowly start to matriculate some responsibilities to them with a little bit of free reins, all that kind of stuff. They're going to fall on their face sometimes, and they should, right? Because if you're not going far enough out that you are definitely on a wire where you can fail, then you don't have the freedom to really make large changes, if that makes sense, right? And so if you have an environment top down where people aren't afraid
Hmm.
to, have conversations about sweeping changes and, or even little changes, right? And you have those conversations and you start to have bubble up innovation. I'm using all these terrible economic terms that I learned in college, sorry. But the but that's the exact point, because you want a leadership team leading from behind.
Yeah.
Well, in most cases, leading from behind, instead of the old way of doing things,
Yeah.
do your job or you won't have one kind of thing. But you lead from behind and truly say, hey, listen, we've got all the right people in all the right seats. Listen, yes, I'm a boss, but just tell me how to help you, right? Let me get out of your way. And I'm a huge Atlas Shrugged fan, by the way. But let me just get out of your way. Let me give you the tools to fight with, right?
Love
And
that.
again, we're talking about, these are such broad stroke
Yes, they are.
conversations to have, and it's simple for me to sit here and say, oh, every company should hold these ideals true, which that's not what I'm saying. But you need to have those conversations. If you really look at the companies that really do really well exponentially over most industries, these are the type companies that win every time. You know what I mean?
I
And
love
not
I love the word too that you used just a few moments ago around tribe, and that can be used in a healthy way. It's
absolutely.
what we're trying to do in healthy, engaging organizations is to create a tribe that really is working in unison. We're not talking about the emperor and the peasants,
Yep.
that modality, but we're really talking about a tribe that shares the passion and the value and the authentic care for each other, and collectively how that works together in terms of the unification of the organization.
Absolutely. If you take, we'll say local examples, right? United Shore and Quicken Loans and, a myriad of others. But it's like if you go to work for Quicken Loans, I mean, it's A-type personality all day, right? And they feed that. That's the culture that they absolutely feed. And for some people, they might walk in there. That's why they have a crazy, crazy turnover rate just in the early stages, right? Because it's
Right.
just a quick weeding out process. But if you're there to win, and you're there to win all the time, right? And that's super attractive to A-type personalities, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. It's okay, right? But then you have, some other companies like United Shore that really, more are more like feed that creative side, that they give more support in different ways, right? The only requirement isn't that you're an A-type personality, right? And again, I'm not saying which model is right or wrong.
Right.
It's just, if you create a model that works for the culture that you're trying to advance, people will gravitate towards it, and they'll gravitate really well, right? But if you don't, how's this? If you don't guide your culture unfortunately is going to guide you very poorly. You know what I mean? And that can, I mean, it can be disastrous. And that's what a lot of larger enterprise companies, and I guess mid-size as well, are facing right now, because again, in these unprecedented times, right? They've never dealt with these challenges, and now on top of it, they have to deal with, wow, yeah, now we're having really, real solid employee problems. And it's not just employees that won't come work for them, it's employees that they already have that are facing COVID-based depression and
Yeah.
working from home for 10 straight months without other human interaction and all that kind of stuff. These are these are real problems, right? Real challenges that businesses have to face. And you can ignore it as much as you want, but it's to your own detriment. You know what I mean? It's you have to, that no one wants to address the elephant in the room. But yeah, I mean, very quickly, these are real problems that a lot of companies are having to deal with.
Have you found anything that has worked really well during this crazy
Hmm.
time that we're in, relative to hanging on to the vision of your
Yeah.
organization, keeping people engaged and feeling empowered? I love that word that you used. But have you found certain things that you've been able to do during these um, times of heightened uncertainty, and there's just a lot of fear that's coming into the workplace? And
Sure. Now, Lisa, now do you ask that question to me personally or the client or the clients that I serve, I guess?
I guess both would be
Okay.
interesting to hear.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, yeah, I mean, for us, it's much more simple than with other companies, right? Most of my team is remote, has
Okay.
been long before COVID started.
Oh, okay.
We've got a small office in Rochester, and but there, you know, our whole staff is locally based.
Okay.
But you know, I mean, if something arises where I need everybody in the room, we need to have, you know, real conversations. Hey, we're onboarding X, Y, and Z, and this, yeah, then we all just meet at the office, and you know, we have those powwows, and you know, we create the strategy and game plans and all that kind of stuff, right?
Good.
So with me, it's it hasn't changed too much, just a lot more touch bases, you
Yeah.
know. But it's not only touch bases, it's made me learn a lot because it's not just touch bases about the work. It's
That's right.
slowing down, just slowing down long enough to say, hey Steve, how are things, man? Like how are actual things, like things that matter, like your you know, your wife, your kids, your dog, all that kind of stuff. And that, and again, not lip service, but just
Yes.
genuinely, hey
Yes.
man, how you holding up? I haven't seen you in, you know, 2.5 months, even though, you know,
Yeah.
you're my employee. How are things going? Right. For clients, I guess that's a little bit more challenging, right? Um, what we talk to clients about is, you know, again, a lot of this is done remotely as well, right?
Right.
And what we talk to clients is, okay, well, like we try to involve not everybody in the conversations because you can't get anything done then, but we'll ask questions, specific questions. Okay, hey, listen, this campaign's running. Did you talk to X, Y, and Z about its performance, whatever it is, right? Well, no, we haven't got that feedback. Why? Why? I mean, that's your entire team that you're in charge of.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I'm not, you know, I don't mean to call your kid ugly or anything, but like, you know, I mean, that's your job, right? And no, but moreover, it's you know, we talk to them all the time about you know, do you, you know, all right, so this is your sales team. You got a sales team of 8. You know, all you know, you used to do just all trade shows, and that went, you know,
Mhm.
went,
Yeah.
you know, goodbye. You know, how's your team, you know,
Excellent.
whether they're looking for leads or whatever it is,
Yeah.
how, you know, how are they acclimating? You know, is there anything from a marketing perspective? Because it's a whole new ball of wax now, because now they have to, you know, I mean, before, like I had one client one time where they used to do about 20 trade shows a year. Kid you not. Okay. They're just road warriors, right? And it's funny because I actually said to him one time, you know, because we were talking about, because none of them, like half their sales team was on LinkedIn, the other half was. I'm just like, what are you, are you crazy? But I mean, you know, obviously, in you know, all joking aside, um, but I had made mention. This is like 2 years ago. I said, well, what would happen if trade shows just magically went away, right? And of course, they all kind of laughed at me. You know, again, I had no foreshadowing of COVID. But you know, that was my whole point is, okay, well, listen, you got 8 salespeople, they pair up and you got 20 trade shows. I said, you know, what do you guys do with the other 40% of your life, right? Well, we, you know, chase down the leads from, you know, the trade shows and this, that. And I'm just like, okay. You know, so, you know, for us, it's about like in that circumstance, right? It's us trying to encourage them to get to be on the same page as the core vision of the company,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And it's, again, that's not, you know, we're not sales trainers, we're not any of that, but it's just, to me, it's like, if you see a challenge in front of you, if it's your client's challenge and you have the ability to help them solve it, do it. It doesn't matter if it's in the contract, figure it out, right? And so it's about getting, hey, listen, you know, then after that you can have a call with the, you know, whoever their higher up is, and hey, listen, you know, they're not doing this, that, and the other thing. Again, not their fault. It's just not who they are yet, right? And like for that circumstance, they had us come in for 2-day sales training just to train everybody how to use LinkedIn effectively, right?
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And how to, you know, I mean, we went in, we shot a bunch of video and created,
Okay.
you know, a bunch of stuff, right? A
Yeah.
good solid content, and we did a bunch of blogging for them. Anyway, we gave them the opportunity to fish for themselves, right?
Yeah.
And but again, it's having the right brand with the right people. You still have to have that cohesive voice across the entire company of everyone working together, right? Because that's the only way it works. Because, you know, if you have an incredibly, and we run into this all the time too, have an incredibly underserved marketing manager that knows all the stuff that they need, but that whether they don't have budget or time or whatever it is, right? But if your leadership team doesn't understand, well, hey, we've watched 3 of our competitors blow right past us in the past. Well, okay, well, they're also spending X, Y, and Z each year, and what's your budget, right? And how is that allocated, and who's in charge of it, and how is that being tracked, and all that kind of stuff. So much of it is just have a concise vision of the health of their company. And I apologize because I keep on bringing it back to marketing. That's just the space that I live in, right?
No.
But I'm sure you guys run into the same type of things where, again, they're just like, they're trying to address a small issue.
That's right.
Yeah.
But they can't see the big issue, because that small issue, they're holding it so close to their eye that they can't see the giant issue behind them, Sorry, I think my mic is scraping my shirt.
That's all right.
Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
But no, so I think we come back full circle to where we started, is all of this contributes to the larger conversation around how we help create healthy, productive, engaging, exciting, fulfilling cultures and environments. And so on that level, is there anything that you want to share as we kind of bring this time to a close, Dan?
Yeah, for sure. I guess my biggest stress, John, would be, it's just about mindset, right? I've got a little story that I've told a couple clients, and if it really kind of sums up mindset to me anyway, is like, if you can think back, 4,000 or 5,000 years, whatever history book you read, right, when they're building the pyramids. And John, forgive me, I might have told you the story. And you've got 3 workers all, chiseling the big giants, 2,000 ton, rocks. And then you've got a supervisor comes down, and he asks the first worker, he says, well, what are you doing? He says, well, I'm chiseling this rock because my boss tells me that I have to, and all that kind of stuff, right? Okay. And then he goes to the next guy. He says, hey, what are you doing? Same guy, same role. He's like, I'm chiseling this rock because the guy ahead of me needs it to do his job. Okay. And then you get to the third guy. He said, what are you doing? He said, I'm building a pyramid. I need you to move. Right. But that right there, to me, most employees fall into, most employees fall into, that category and stuff.
Yes.
To me personally, right, I want to do whatever I can to have that third guy on my team.
Yes.
I don't care if he has an underserved skill set. I can teach that. You know what I mean? If he has there's so many things I can forgive if they've got that type of attitude. Phenomenal. And I think, personally, I think that most companies would feel the same way.
Yeah.
And so that's to me, mindset is everything. And that's top down, because you have to have, your leadership has to be able to identify that too, and just say, hey guys, I don't care what it takes. I'm not talking about monetarily. I don't care how much buy-in that we have to have. We have to fix these 2 or 3 or 5 core issues that we're having today, and it needs to be addressed now. And I'm sure that you guys run into that all the time, where I would imagine the hardest part of your conversation is getting to that point with whoever you're talking to self-identify.
It always
and
is.
to say, yeah, okay, yeah, I understand what needs to happen now. You know what I mean? And it's so much better if they can get to that point and just do that, because it makes them bigger, better, stronger, faster, all that kind of stuff. So sorry.
No, that's good. That's all good. And so as we bring this conversation to a close, and hopefully those who have been watching, you are starting to get the gist. If you do need a logo, be sure to call Dan. But it will be followed up with some very decisive questions that have to be explored in terms of who you are as an organization and what you're trying to create. And so if you'd like more information, you can get a hold of Dan at drivecreativeagency.com, drivecreativeagency.com, Dan Dulka. See, we got it right. He often,
right?
Yeah, exactly. And we're just grateful for the friendship, the professional relationship that we've built with you, Dan, and we wish you well. So thank you so much for your time.
No worries, guys. Thank you. And I have a deep appreciation for what you guys do. It's so underserved. I can't possibly state that loud enough from the bleachers. So,
Thank you.
but thanks for having me on. I appreciate both of you. And yep, Lisa, it was great meeting you.
Same